Hey y'all, it's me, Miss B, and today we're adding and subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators. So, we need to deal with this thing called the least common denominator. And the least common denominator, or the LCD, is the least common multiple of all of the denominators. All right, so here are going to be our steps for solving or adding and subtracting rational expressions. First, we need to determine what the LCD is. Then we're going to rewrite each fraction with the same denominator, and you're going to have to multiply the numerator and denominator by any factors needed to obtain the LCD. Then you're going to add the numerators together, keeping the same denominator, and then when possible, you are going to factor the numerator and simplify the fraction. Okay, so here is our first example. It's a pretty basic problem, and it's meant to kind of show us how to do these problems. So usually we think of this as, okay, we multiply these two together, multiply these two together, multiply these two together. I think they call it something like the butterfly method. But here's the logic behind that. So if I have 4 over 6 plus 9 over 13, and I'm multiplying this one by this and this one by this, I'm multiplying them both by 6, right? So I'm multiplying by 6 over 6, which 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1. And multiplying by 1 doesn't change the problem. Then I'd multiply 14 and 13, or 4 and 13, and 6 and 13. So I'm multiplying by 13 over 13, which is also a fancy form of 1. So then I can simplify this. 4 times 13 is, what is that? 52. And the denominator would be 13 times 6, which is 72 plus 6, 78. And then I have 9 times 6 is 54 and 78 again. So now I have the same denominator and I'm able to just add them together. So I should get 78 as my denominator again. It stays the same. And then I just have to add the numerator. So 52 plus 54 over 78, which is 106 over 78 as my final answer. Now, I did show a lot more work than we usually do, and we usually just type into our calculator. However, on this section, this is what we're doing. We're just using variables as well. All right, so we're going to save that one for class and hop on over to 3. So here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply and multiply. There's no common factors, so I'm going to multiply 5 over x and 7y over x plus 3. So I have to multiply x by x plus 3 over x plus 3. And I have to multiply this one by x over x. And I want you to make the note, don't forget to distribute. And I'm also going to make a note to leave your denominator. Okay, we don't need to change the denominator. We'll leave it in factored form. So here, I need to multiply that 5 through. So I get 5x plus 15 over x times x plus 3. I get 7xy over x times x plus 3. Then I'll add all these together, and I get 5x plus 15 plus 7xy over x times x plus 3, keeping my denominator the same. And there's really no more factoring to do on that one. Let's look at number 5. So you can see that this is x squared and x, so they do have factors in common. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite x squared as x times x and keep that one the same. So I need to multiply this denominator by x to get x times x. So I'm going to multiply by x over x, because if I do it in the denominator, I have to do it in the numerator to get a form of 1. Then I'm just going to simplify. So I have 1 over x squared plus 3x over x squared. So I have a common denominator. So we found what is called the least common denominator. So then I can add those two things together, and I get 1 plus 3x over x squared, and that's my answer because there's nothing else to factor. All right, and then finally, this is number 8. I've got two denominators here. I'm going to go ahead and factor both denominators. So I've got 5, and then I've got x. So go ahead, pause, and factor those two denominators. All right, this first one here, you should get x times x minus 5. And then this one is 5 times x minus 5. So let's see what we have in common. We've got this x minus 5, and oop, that just highlighted the whole thing. I've got this x minus 5 in common, and then I have an x here and a 5 here. So I need to multiply this one by 5 over 5 and this one by x x over x to get those to be similar. So I'm multiplying this one over here and this one over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply and then simplify. So I have 25 over 5x times x minus 5 minus x squared over 5x times x minus 5. So then I can combine, so I have 25 minus x squared over 5x times x minus 5. I'll tell you right now that this top part factors to be negative x minus 5 times x plus 5 over 5x times x minus 5. So I'll just say that that was a giveaway. Okay, then look for stuff that cancels, and you should get, those two should cancel. And so we're left with negative x plus 5 over 5x. All right, and that is it for that problem, and that is all for